Vampire Fiat Money System, How It Works and What It Means for Your Wealth, by Thorsten Polleit, January 2025. Who doesn't know them? The blood-sucking vampires, the eerie undead, immortalized in countless films and inspired primarily by Bram Stoker's novel Dracula from 1897. Just think of the iconic movies like the silent film Nosferatu, a symphony of horror from 1922, Dracula with Christopher Lee from 1958, Roman Polanski's parody The Fearless Vampire Killers from 1967, or Nosferatu Phantom of the Night from 1979, starring Klaus Kinski as Count Dracula. Vampires are demons who rise from their graves at night, seeking to drain the blood of innocent victims. Not only do they steal the life force that sustains them, but they also spread their curse. Many victims bitten by vampires are turned, becoming undead themselves, thus joining the vampire's dark domain. The enemies and hunters of vampires face a formidable challenge. Vampires can disguise themselves, transforming into creatures like wolves or bats, and often display immense superhuman strength. They can only be repelled by traditional defenses, garlic cloves, rosaries, holy water, or the Christian cross. But truly destroying a vampire requires decapitation, driving a wooden stake through its heart, or bringing sunlight that turns them to dust. The vampire is an ancient and widespread myth. The image of a blood-sucking undead creature, or similar concepts, has existed across many cultures. This demon embodies superstition, acting as a projection of primal fears, the inexplicable, and evil as the counterpart to good. The notion of a creature that emerges at night, drains its victims' blood, and draws them from light into darkness is undoubtedly a profoundly threatening one. When you reflect a little longer on the horror story of the vampire demon, you will inevitably begin to see parallels, or at least points of contact, with the fiat money system that exists worldwide today. It takes place under the cover of darkness. It is fair to say that the vast majority of people are unaware of how today's fiat money system is structured, how it operates, or what its effects are. Students in schools and university are, for the most part, left in the dark about it, and the consequences of the fiat money system therefore take most people by surprise, unprepared and relentless. Indeed, how many people know that our current fiat money system is a system in which the state's central bank holds a coercive monopoly on the creation of fiat central bank money, while commercial banks issue their own fiat commercial bank money based on central bank fiat money? Who knows that fiat money is literally created out of thin air, representing a form of money creation that has no connection whatsoever to real savings? And who explains to people that, from an economic perspective, expanding the fiat money supply is inflationary, leading to uneven higher prices for goods and services compared to a situation where the money supply had not been increased? It is also unknown to many that the issuance of fiat money via credit markets causes a misallocation of capital, initially triggering a boom only to be followed by a bust, that it drives economies into excessive debt, and that it allows the state to grow ever larger at the expense of the freedoms of citizens and entrepreneurs. In short, for most people, the damage caused by fiat money is unknown. It creeps upon them under the cover of darkness like a vampire. The victims are often helpless and unaware, with the fruits of their labor effectively being siphoned away. Fiat money has something vampire-like about it, enabling one group, those allowed to create fiat money, to live at the expense of others, those forced to use the monopolized fiat money. The first recipients of the newly created fiat money are the beneficiaries. They can use the new money to purchase goods and services whose prices have not yet risen, making them wealthier. As the new fiat money changes hands, it increases demand and prices of goods rise accordingly. As a result, the late receivers of the new money can only buy goods at higher prices, leaving them at a disadvantage. The first recipients improve their position at the expense of the late receivers. The most severely affected are those who receive nothing from the newly created fiat money supply. They are, in effect, the ones sucked dry. The vampire-like redistributive effect of fiat money, which operates in the shadows, particularly benefits commercial banks that create fiat commercial bank money, as well as those in a position to take out new loans in fiat money. First and foremost, it is the state and those who benefit from it who are among the biggest winners of the vampire fiat money system. The state finances a significant portion of its expenditure with newly created fiat money, using it to pay its representatives, employees and their pensions, as well as the companies from which it purchases goods and services. The state and its beneficiaries are among the early receivers of the newly created fiat money, making them the primary beneficiaries at the expense of the many who are not closely connected to the state. One might argue that a redistribution of income and wealth brought about by the increase in fiat money would also occur in a commodity or precious metal money system. This is true in principle, but the increase in the quantity of money in, say, a gold money system would be less pronounced than in a fiat money system. The fact is that the latter was deliberately chosen for its vampire-like nature. It benefits the state, banks and big business at the expense of the general population, keeping them below their economic potential. Like a vampire, fiat money infects its victims, turning them into accomplices of the fiat money system. Fiat money literally enslaves its users, making them dependent. For instance, fiat money incentivizes firms and private households to incur debt and live beyond their means, made possible through artificially low interest rates. People are also encouraged to invest in assets such as houses and companies because the chronic inflationary nature of fiat money ensures a continual rise in asset prices. Once people are lured into exposure to fiat money, their economic and financial well-being becomes dependent on the continuation of the inflationary fiat money system and on it being rescued by the state and its central bank during times of crisis, even at the expense of those who do not benefit from the system or benefit much less. Politicians, bureaucrats, bank employees and companies that receive government contracts all develop a vested interest in ensuring that the fiat money system is maintained. In this sense, they become fiat money vampire thralls, feeding off the lifeblood of those engaged in productive work by claiming a share of their income. Moreover, holders of fiat money are the ones who lose out, as fiat money continually loses its purchasing power. In a fiat money system, the central bank ensures that interest rates are kept artificially low, often negative after accounting for inflation, so that savings and time deposits, savings accounts and bonds are effectively eroded. The vampire and the fiat money system cannot withstand the bright light of day. Both will crumble to dust when exposed to sunlight. If people truly understood the negative effects of fiat money and the damage it causes to the world, they would likely reject it, along with the production and employment structures it creates. This is likely why so little is taught about fiat money in schools and universities. Its darker aspects are concealed, with the statist education system as particeps criminis ensuring the bright light of knowledge does not shine on the fiat money system. Remember that central bank councils are typically referred to as the guardians of the currency, and it is said that they fight inflation. Nothing could be further from the truth. Much like a vampire who welcomes his guests and engages in witty conversation without revealing his true nature. Just as the sunlight kills a vampire, sound economic knowledge would destroy the fiat money system, especially when coupled with a simple, well-understood ethic like "do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Until that day comes, investors should be aware of the serious economic and ethical flaws of fiat money. The uncomfortable truth is that long-term prosperity and societal peace cannot be sustained under a fiat money system. Therefore, it is in everyone's best interest for the bright light of truth to expose and thus end the fiat money system. But how can this be achieved? By proactively and honestly informing people about the evils of fiat money, by advising them to reduce their dependence on it, both in their lives and their savings, and by promoting a free market for money while encouraging technological innovations in the monetary sphere that lie beyond the state's control. Together, these efforts will act like a ray of sunlight striking the vampire-like fiat money system, ultimately causing it to crumble to dust. Thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed the podcast, please visit my website, Dr. Polleit's Boom and Bust Report, www.boombustreport.com.